Hello and welcome to this week's Ghost Encounters of the Third Kind. Tonight we're going to be talking about synchronicities.
No.
No? What are we talking about tonight then?
Haunted objects.
Haunted objects. See? Right. Haunted objects. So what do you think about haunted objects? Has anybody got any?
Marie?
I don't really know. I'm on the fence with haunted objects. I think a lot of people think that there's something attached to them 24/7. Whereas I think it's more likely that if somebody was very attached to something, that they may be drawn back to it occasionally, maybe. But I don't know about haunted object.
Do you think they can be used as a vessel?
Energy. Would you say they were energy objects then? So they stored energy. So whether it would be good energy or negative energy.
I don't think that there's something. I don't think there's something, whether it be energy or a spirit or anything, attached to an object 24/7. I think it may come back. Let's just say, for example, it was a pram or a doll, and a child, it was a child's favourite toy, and that child may have passed away at a young age. Maybe that child comes back and plays with that item and pushes that pram every now and then, or gets drawn towards that doll, and you may, and that's why people see it move or something. But I don't think that child is attached to those objects all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's just a spirit using that object then.
Yeah. I think that's more than likely.
Although we did have a box once that we passed around between the two of us. We had nothing but bad luck, didn't we, with it?
Yeah, it was bad, that was.
Seriously, we did have a box.
Do you think that that's just negative energy?
I don't know.
Maybe
There was nothing in it. It didn't hold anything. No.
I made the box, so whether it was a second-hand box, but I made the box and I put the satanic prayer on the front.
Oh, nice.
As you do.
So that was intention, maybe.
Yeah, it was, but
Cut yourself doing it as well, didn't you? Blood all over it.
And the blood all over it. And in this prayer, it says at this point you're supposed to cut your finger and put your blood on.
Really?
Yeah. And after I'd engraved this prayer on it and the satanic symbols and stuff, because it was a box, I had to lower my machine quite down. So when it was down, I thought it's dusty and dirty, so I'll hoover it up. So I got the hoover out, and as I was hoovering the bottom of the machine, it was like one of them, what's it called, that film, where it's try and get you. Anyway, I was hoovering it out, and the hoover started squealing like it was blocked. So I squeezed the pipe all the way down to find out where the block was, and as I squeezed it where I thought the block was, there was a scalpel blade in there, and it went straight through the tube.
You don't mean Final Destination,
No,
do
that's
you?
Yeah, that's what it was like. It was a Final Destination moment, and stabbed in my finger and blood all over this box. And I kind of donated it to Nick. It ticked his house.
Then it came back to the studio after a bit.
What was your intention in making that box?
It was just
To sell it.
to sell it. It was.
We did markets and that at the time, didn't we? And
Yeah,
stuff.
we made. Because I used to make. They weren't obviously real boxes, but this box had a Ouija board built in, and you could store things in it. And we used to make vampire boxes with crosses in and.
So where's this box now?
It's actually in Australia.
Really?
Yeah,
I sold it on eBay. I put the story on. I couldn't sell it as a devil box, but the story was true, and I put the story with the box. Oh, and I could have sold it 10 times over, couldn't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you ever heard from them?
No.
No, they're dead now.
Can't say that.
With the box.
So if you're listening, don't complain.
Don't contact.
No.
Well, they knew what they were buying, didn't you? So.
Yeah.
I think that might be a different thing though than what I'm thinking a haunted object is.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
That's a bit more like these.
Probably synchronicity. Like
Yeah, absolutely. That's more sort of intention and energies, and I think it's a bit different than what people.
It was bad luck. The box was
Yeah,
bad luck.
it
Yeah.
was bad luck.
Which is what you get with haunted objects, isn't it?
Yeah, but with any spiritual objects that I sell, and if people change their mind, because like eBay and all that, you can change your mind 14 days. If people send them back to say they don't want them, I don't resell them onto anybody else. They get scrapped because I don't know what they've been
What they've done.
to them, why they've been out. So I don't, just in case.
So what do you think about haunted objects then, Nick? Do you think that there can be a spirit attached to an object?
Yeah, I think they
Like
can.
these lights.
There, your lights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the
I've
lights.
never really encountered that. But me personally, I wouldn't have thought it was how you've just described it, whereas they can come and go. I just don't know how they connect to that object for a little while, then go back to wherever, then come back.
Would that not be the same as any visitation? Really?
Yeah, but if it's a small object and it's moving about, how are they going to know where it is?
I just can't see how an energy from something that was living can attach itself to something solid, if you know what I mean.
What about mirrors? Because
Oh yeah, mirrors are a bit weird, aren't they?
Yeah.
Especially you're not supposed to have mirrors facing each other, are you?
no, or facing your bed.
I don't know about that.
No.
Because when a mirror supposedly is facing one another, it's bouncing the light from one to the other, and it's
Bit like a
duplicating.
devil's
Bit like a
toolbox.
devil's toy box.
Mm.
Devil's toy box. Builds up the energy.
So did you see the cogs working
Yes,
then?
yeah.
Just going back to what you've just said about energy from a living thing attaching itself to something.
Demons.
No.
That's what you're going to say.
No, not at all.
No. Go on.
I don't do demons.
No.
My question was going to be about, this stone tape theory. Isn't that what that is? That's somebody that energy is attaching or being absorbed into something that's not living, into the stone and into
That's just a recording, though, isn't it?
yeah.
So how would that affect an object?
Well, do you think the same could happen with an object? That object could absorb that energy and replay? Do you think?
Replay what?
Replay what used to happen to it
Usually
many years
with
ago.
an
the
haunted
same as-
object, you're getting bad luck, aren't you, and things start happening to you.
I don't know.
Apparently.
This bad luck thing's new to me. I didn't know that.
Well,
a
you didn't get much.
haunted-
Well, them who had Annabelle didn't have much good luck, did they?
That's one example, though. I mean,
What about the crying
let's-
boy pictures?
let-
and
let's be
The
honest.
crying boy pictures, the
There's-
houses burnt down.
I mean, the trend at the moment is museums full of haunted
Oh yeah,
objects.
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
And I don't think every object is bringing bad luck.
I've
is
never
it?
heard of an haunted object that gives you good luck, unless you have.
A genie lamp.
That's not
I
haunted.
think-
That's magical.
I think a haunted object just means exactly that, doesn't it? It doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna try and stab you in the night and bring you horrendous trauma and bad luck. It just means that object may move things in the house. It's just haunted. Not all hauntings are bad, are they?
So would you say like that if you had your granddad's glasses, stuff like that? So people just hold them for a bit of comfort, maybe, or a bit of luck. I don't know, because you don't hear of any good luck stories, do you? It's always, I've got this second-hand bloody box from a second-hand shop, and strange things are happening in my house. You don't.
That's not. But strange things happening isn't bad luck, is it? It's just strange things happening.
Yeah, I suppose, but depends how you look at it. Could scare you.
I
Might
mean,
not
if
be bad,
people
but it's
if people are
scary.
looking at any kind of haunting and strange thing and any paranormal activity, if people are looking at that as a bad experience, then yeah, I guess everything is bad. But that's not always the
that's-
case,
yeah.
is it?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. You've changed my mind on that one.
Marie, have you killed the conversation?
I think I must have. I don't know.
You've baffled us all.
I know. I'm
Baffling us with science.
So what you're saying is that all the objects aren't haunted, they're just holding energy.
I think it can be the same as any haunting a building. I think you can have a haunted of an object. So you can either have intelligent or residual in a building. I think you can have the same with an object.
So you could have an intelligent haunting of an object. I mean, I'm not saying you can't, because
Yeah,
obviously I don't know.
You mean like Annabelle?
I don't see the
type of.
I
that
don't
sort of
see
thing.
why you couldn't have an intelligence with an object the same as you can with a building. I mean, an intelligent haunting is drawn to that building for some reason. Why would it not be drawn to an object for some reason?
Yeah, I see your point, yeah. I don't know. I don't know anything.
No, but
do we?
do you think it might be just the individual manifesting those things from the object? Like, for instance, when you take a photograph to a medium and they hold the photograph, not they're not. It's not necessarily the person who's in that photograph. Their energy is in that photograph. I know it's a picture of them, so maybe a bit of it is in that photograph. I don't know, but kind of they give a reading by. They don't even need to look at the picture, do they? They can put your face down and they kind of give a reading.
Yeah.
So, what are they reading from that photograph? Same kind of thing, isn't it? So I suppose that's the example of a good haunting, then maybe, is it?
I don't know if. Yeah. I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Because I think of it one way and then I'll think of it another way. But I don't personally think that all hauntings equals bad.
Oh no, I don't know any.
It can equal scary, but only scary to the point where, because we don't understand and we don't know why that's scary. It's not.
No, the only point I was making is all the well-known haunted objects are all bad news, aren't they?
Like Annabelle and that
and
that
the
kind of
crying
thing,
boy and stuff like that in these different boxes and all this sort of thing. There's never any that give you good luck, is there?
No, but if you're getting good stuff off an object, you're not going to give it away, are you?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just, what you hear about.
And also, if you're getting anything good off an object, you probably wouldn't even make that connection. People only make connections with bad stuff.
Yeah.
So if bad luck's happening all the time and you think, why is all this bad luck happening? But if you're having good luck, nobody ever thinks, oh, what's bringing me this good luck? Could it be that I've just bought in the house?
Yeah, can you make me a good luck box?
People don't make that connection, do they? It's only ever the bad stuff that people pick up on.
I do sell those at $79.99.
Hey! Yeah, do you do cloning?
So what do we think? Like Faye said earlier on about items being used as vessels. As you hear some mediums and some people will say that doll or that puppet or whatever is being used as a vessel.
You mean like Chucky?
Chucky, yeah. See, what Faye said there is not Chucky, using as a vessel. That's what I see as a haunted object. That object is holding the energy of a spirit, which I don't believe can happen. But that's only my view, isn't it? I don't know how, until you've just said what you've said about residual energy being on an object. I don't see why they couldn't be. But if you're using it as a vessel, it could only be an intelligent haunting of that object, as I see it anyway.
Yeah.
Because for them to do that, there's a reason behind it. I think. I don't believe you can trap a ghost in a box and stuff like that.
No.
There's one, I don't know, there's some program on the telly, I don't know what, there's loads in there, and at the end there's always try and catch a ghost in a box, which is just ridiculous.
It's like the Devitt box, isn't it? That's supposed to be.
I don't know.
No.
So well, the Dybbuk box was, apparently the guy came out, didn't he, and said it was a big fake, that he'd made the whole story up. There was no such thing as a Dybbuk box, and it was all fake. And I had this discussion with an associate of ours about the fact that they're all fake. And my argument was, just because somebody made something up doesn't necessarily mean that nobody can now create one.
No, but that's exactly the same as the box that we had.
You know, so if this guy said, if this guy was the first ever person to coin the phrase Dybbuk box and come up with this backstory and say that it held all these horrible negative things and it was sealed up, he may have made that up, but that doesn't mean that going forward somebody with that intention didn't create a Dybbuk box. So my argument was, just because that very first one that ended up in Zach Bagans' museum, haunted museum, just because that one has been proved to be faked doesn't mean that there aren't genuine ones out there now.
Intention, maybe, because
Well, that's exactly it, isn't it? It's
the more
intention.
people that are making them with the intention of it, holding the spirit, maybe they are manifesting a spirit or something. Tulpa, some people call it tulpa, in that box. Because witches do make tulpas and send them out, and they grow their tulpa, and that's exactly what that is, I think.
I think intention is a lot, isn't it?
In everything.
In everything that you do. Intention is a lot. But dolls is a big one, isn't it, for attachments and hauntings. I think it's because they look so human-like. And I think a lot of people find dolls creepy anyway.
They are creepy, aren't they? Yeah, they are creepy.
So
But it's never... You never hear of anything being spoke about like the Cindy that I've just bought from do you?
No.
From Argos. It's always something old and something that looks a bit strange or just
looks creepy to start with.
Yeah, you never, you know, it's not the baby Annabelle I've just got from Argos.
And yet the Annabelle, the actual original Annabelle, looked absolutely nothing like
doll,
in the
wasn't it?
films. The original Annabelle was just not a creepy looking doll at all. It was just a rag doll. So, I mean, obviously made to look a lot more creepier in the films.
Yeah.
But
Got a lot to answer for, haven't they, the film?
The problem I've got as well is that all this haunted objects, I was going to call it nonsense, but all this stuff about haunted objects was sort of brought to light by the Warrens. Now, you can either love them or hate them. Were they faking stuff or were they genuine? You know, I'm not to say one way or the other. But they have had a lot of bad press about stuff. So as soon as there's bad press about stuff, you tend to shy away from it. You not believe stuff, you know. Well, they've got Annabelle, haven't they? They've got the original Annabelle, but they've got hundreds of stuff. But like I say, now there's a lot of people. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people we know that have got haunted stuff. But I just find it hard to believe that.
I find it hard to believe, Nick,
that a spirit can get inside of a doll, and that can do bad things to you or affect you somehow. I don't believe in possession, but I believe in that more than I believe in...
I just think, you know, if somebody's got a building that's packed to the rafters with hundreds and hundreds of haunted objects, what kind of chaos would that building be in?
Have you not watched Night at the Museum? Really?
I have.
It all comes
Fantastic
alive at
film.
night time.
But I mean, but on a serious note, if every single object that's in these haunted museums was haunted or had attachments, it would be absolute chaos 24/7, surely. Would it not?
They seem to do things on demand, though, don't they?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah. I can't
With
see.
strings.
I can't see a place full of haunted objects, like you say. Just setting a light off, or
Moving a curtain.
don't know, giving a bit of an EVP or the K2 flashing. No, like say, it'd be like a riot, wouldn't it?
Surely.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
Got them all in one room.
to have one object that has some sort of paranormal activity going on with it would be an amazing thing. But if you're claiming to have buildings full of them, you know, that would be, you'd be full of, the press would be there, everybody would be there, that would be the evidence of everybody wanting one. It'd be chaos.
They might just take turns. Right, Dolly will go.
Yeah, but do you think if there was a building with all these objects in, and the aim of the object was to get attention, surely would we say that it was to get attention? So do you not think that the energy would be, like you say, would be more chaotic, but it would build more because each object would be fighting with each other
They'd be competing, wouldn't
to
they?
build, so it'd be.
Yeah, surely they would be, the energies would be competing with each other for, you know, notice me, I'm here. I just can't imagine a room full. If some of the Warrens cases and many more people that specialise in these kind of hauntings, where they remove objects from, I think there was a series on years ago. Some guy used to do it as well. He used to go around with his family and investigate a property and then find an object.
No,
and
he's pretty good, to be honest. His name just slips me at the minute. He's pretty good, but they always used to put it down to an haunted object, didn't they? Which I think ruined the programme.
Yeah. It was always an object. You remove that object out of the house and all of a sudden all of the activity stops.
Called, but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think who it is.
But I mean, if these were to be believed, sorry, you can edit this. Is it this?
No,
Can you hear
no,
that?
No.
What's the laughing for?
I was just thinking of Keith Chegwin's swap shop or whatever it was.
What?
I don't know. When you said it was on tally, you couldn't think. That's what popped into my head. The swap shop. Oh, jeez.
Haunted, what's it called?
John Zaffis. Zaffis.
That'd be him, yeah.
Yeah, Haunted Collector.
Well, that's it.
Was that an American thing?
Yeah, it was an American
I've never heard
thing.
of that.
He's pretty good, actually. He was all right. He's pretty genuine, but the only problem I had with it is every haunting he put down to an object, didn't he?
Everything was an object.
So he could, I think so he could pinch something and put it in his
But then obviously these people then take these objects and go and put them in their collections. So
Which
if
is okay.
if that one object is causing so much chaos in that one building that they needed to have somebody out and find it and remove it, you put all of those objects together in one room,
And
what's going to happen?
happens.
And then nothing happens. You know, this is what I don't. This is why I think that a spirit or an entity can be drawn to an object and maybe use it like it used to use it in the past, or play with it like they played with it in the past, but then they sort of withdraw and go again. I don't. This 24/7 thing I find difficult to. Like anything, I think if those, you know, your jacket that you're wearing. You've had it on you, and that jacket will absorb a certain amount of you. And if you go and put that jacket in storage for 50 years and somebody takes it out, they'll smell of you, and it will still be. Do you know what I mean? You'll always have that kind of some small attachment to it, and I think the same can be said for certain objects.
So do you think you can you could cleanse these objects. You know, like when people go into a haunted pub and they come out and say, "Oh, we've moved them onto they've gone to the light and there'll be no more hauntings." But if the pub was making a living out of them that haunted and ghost hunts and stuff, you wouldn't want anyone to move that ghost on, because then you'd have no business, would you?
I have known places that have had these I don't know what to call them, you know, like most haunted and help my house is haunted and these kind of, I have known places that have had these kind of people in and made programs there, and at the end of it they've gone round and cleansed it and saged it, and then years after they're still open to investigations and they're selling tickets for, you know,
Bless you.
excuse me, for ghost hunts, and people are still reporting activity there. So witches, obviously they've not got rid of what's there, have they?
Or other people are just conjuring up with the intentions of something being there. I think it could be that, really.
I do believe in cleansings
Yeah,
and
I do.
sagings. I think they can work, and salts, and I think there's ways to block activity.
I'm really surprised that there hasn't been more people suing mediums who've gone in and from a monetary situation to say, well, you've come in here and moved the ghost on and now you've ruined my business. I'm
Yeah.
surprised we haven't heard more of that happening. I suppose it's happened in America because they're suing people.
What, like the haunted house and selling tickets, and someone's come in and cleansed it. We used to know a group, haven't we, that used to go around doing that. I can't remember who it was now, but that's what they used to do at the end of the. What they used to try and cleanse the place. Well, they're paying £500 to investigate it, and they try to cleanse it at the end.
I've known people refuse to allow cleansings in their buildings, but on the flip side, I've also known people that have gone in and cleansed a building, and things have come out to be worse afterwards. But I don't know if that's people who just not really sure what they're doing and can just agitate something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say so.
So what about you, Faye? Do you think that things can have attachments to them, objects?
Probably mirrors. That's the only thing I can probably say. When we're using scrying and things like that, you can see yourself changing, and you know. I think a mirror can. I don't know about dolls, because I don't know of anyone that's ever had a doll that's done anything.
I mean,
I personally, I haven't. Oh, I've got a lot of dolls. I don't collect dolls. I just got, no.
The doll lady.
Teddies and dolls, they're all everywhere.
Yeah.
Got them in the loft from when the kids were little and things. I've never ever experienced anything myself, and I don't know anyone that's experienced it. It's only through the, like you say, the films, Annabelle, and things that you read on the internet. But they're quite few and far between.
I do know of a couple of buildings that have had dolls on show and places, and the dolls have moved. But to me, again, that doesn't mean that doll is haunted. It just means that a spirit maybe has moved it.
Yeah, well, you've had
You
that in
know?
your house, haven't you? Dolls spin around on the.
Still out now all the time.
But what do you think that is, Nick?
Don't know. It's a Russian doll. It's a witch Russian doll.
Okay.
You know, and there's just the same one, turns all the time. Now I've even moved it around because I think that can't be level at the bottom, this, that and the other, but it's only the same one that does it.
Could it be a possibility that you have a spirit in your house?
Oh,
that
I've definitely got
that's
spirits
just
in the
taken
house.
a liking to that
Yeah,
one
could have done,
doll.
Yeah, could have done.
But this is what I'm saying, doesn't necessarily mean that doll is haunted,
No.
does it?
No.
It just means that something out there quite fancies that doll and likes to
Because at first I thought it was just vibrations walking past the unit. It's underneath the television. So the first time I noticed it, you could see it over a week turning. Just going on. You couldn't physically see it turning, but
No.
that's why I thought vibrating. So I turned it back. Then within an hour, it was all the way around again. So it did it quicker. But I don't know. But I have a load of weird shit going on in our house anyway. But what's that?
What was that?
So something to you then. Anyway. We're in a haunted house at the minute. Haunted objects. But it moves. I can't tell you it doesn't move, it moves. But whether it's haunted or something else is making it do it, I don't know.
Have you, Marie,
Have I what? Sorry, Faye.
experienced anything like that with a doll?
No, I've had. No, the only experience I've had with objects is they've appeared out of nowhere. You know, I've found things in previous houses that I've lived in. I've found things that didn't belong to me, and I had no idea where they came from. And really random things like
A horse
a
whip.
horse whip, a horse crop.
Yeah, well, they used to bury horses in the driveways of houses to put a good spirit on the house. I listened to a podcast actually just a couple of nights ago, and they were saying and it wasn't that long ago. It was going back to 1700s. They actually used to put slab people up in the walls of these houses. If there was a wall falling down, they used to put somebody in the wall alive and build it up so their spirit would be part of that house.
What?
Yeah.
I've found another one, and I actually did see it drop at the time. Didn't just find it, I just saw it drop down in front of me. Was a ring. I had no idea, it didn't look familiar, I had no idea where it came from. Just dropped down into the middle of the floor. Picked it up, looked at it, put it on the mantelpiece, and a couple of hours later went to get it to show somebody else what I'd just found, and it had gone, and I never saw it again, never found it again. So I've had things like that happen to objects, but I've not. I'm drawn to some objects. Sometimes when we go into antique shops and things like that, I'll look at something and for some reason I'll keep going back to it, and I don't really know why. It's not just because aesthetically I like it. It's just that I'm drawn to it, and I think you can get sort of vibes off different objects as well. Sometimes you just look at something and you go, I don't like that, for no apparent reason, as well. I think you can get feelings like that from objects. But
That happened to me with the book. Was it Dagfields?
yeah,
And I didn't buy it. I wish I'd have done now. Sorry. Yeah, I picked up, flicked. It was an handmade. It was a homemade book, and there was a lot of Crowler stuff in it.
right.
Just a red folder containing loads of photocopied stuff in it. And why I didn't buy it, I don't know. But it was just something telling me don't buy it. So that could have been haunted.
But don't you think though, like your instinct, it means something, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Why was your instinct telling you not to buy it?
I don't know. I wasn't, at that time, this is years ago, I wasn't really into Crowley and stuff then. I mean, now I wouldn't think twice. I'd have had it. I'd have bought it,
But I'm a firm believer in you weren't meant to have that. If that's the vibe that you were getting off it, you weren't meant to have it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Whether it was because it was meant for somebody else,
Yeah, it could have been.
I don't know. So
Yeah, I'll borrow you sometime.
Yeah.
But you pick these energies up off people as well, don't you? You can just take an instant dislike to somebody, or just energy based, isn't it? So I suppose it'll work with a haunted object if there's
definitely
a negative energy attached to it, or it doesn't have to be negative. There's something that conflicts with your own energy, maybe. Don't know.
I'd like to think there's positive energy connected to objects,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, all you see in films and everything, it's all negativity, isn't it? Mind you, then again, on all these programs you see on the television, there's never any nice spirits there. They're always demonic or...
These days,
It's just in fashion, isn't it, unfortunately, now.
it seems to be every haunting is negative and demonic, and all of these paranormal investigators are getting taken over or affected in some way. They all want to punch each other. They're all arguing, and it's because of energy affecting them. It all seems to have gone down that route.
So what about like an amulet, a good luck charm? Because that's something that you associate positive.
Yeah, like...
And that's an item or a
Robbie's
coin.
pixies and stuff
Yeah.
like that as well, can't you?
Yeah.
You know, we've got... I know Lisa's got them in a pierce that we had from Cornwall.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be good luck, aren't they, the Cornish pixie?
And people do
Intention.
say they've got
Yeah.
it. You know,
Again,
they've
yeah,
had
like you
good
say,
looks
intention,
and-
isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
It's like everything, if you believe that works, then it works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If somebody tells you that something's got some sort of something about it and it's going to do something for you, if you can believe that, then it will do that thing for you, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely,
intention and
Because I believe you can manifest your own energy.
yeah.
Maybe the guy who bought that box off you knows we were having bad luck, but there's nothing to prompt it with us, though. That's the only problem.
No.
It was just bad news, this box was, honestly. But with you telling the guy who bought it, it was bad news, then he's going to expect bad stuff
Yeah.
from it, isn't he? Which is obviously... But,
Yeah. He might have been disappointed.
yeah, it might just be alright, it might be
Yeah,
nice.
the power of suggestion is
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
a strong
definitely.
thing, isn't it? If you tell somebody enough times that something's going to happen, you will make that thing happen.
Yeah.
This is the conversation I've had with Faye a few times about seeing these people that tell you fortunes.
Yeah.
You know, they tell you something's going to happen, you go away with that in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And then guess what? I'm going to make that happen because she told me it was going to. So she hasn't foretold that.
No.
No.
She's just planted that seed in my head for me to then go and do that.
Tarot
So,
is the same,
Yeah.
runes are the same.
I've had exactly the
Yeah.
same. I had a psychic reading when I was in New York. The guy told me that my ex-wife, had put a voodoo spell on me, which
This
is
is good and this is... Yeah.
just... She never even believed in any of that kind of stuff, so it was just a total bloody lie from the start. But he said to me, he says,
There was a cheap way out of this, by the way.
yeah, I can get rid of it. He would light a candle at his church every week for 2 weeks, but the candles were $600 each.
are you kidding me?
Well, so I just laughed at him. I said, "How big are these candles? 6 foot high?" I said to him. Oh my God! So I
Seriously.
just ridiculous.
Did you have one or not?
I had 4. Just make sure.
Just in case.
Just make sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I wasn't short of money at that point in my life, so you know, I could have very easily done it. But what a load of shit rubbish. I won't edit that bit out.
Yeah, I think it can be quite a dangerous thing, planting these little seeds in people's heads,
Yeah.
because I don't think you're not always aware at how they're affecting you in the background. Even though you might think you brush it off and you think, no, I didn't believe it, but it still niggles away.
Yeah, but that could have scared somebody into
Yeah,
parting
absolutely.
with $1,200 or whatever it was he wanted. But no, not from me.
And we
No.
wonder why these people have a bad name.
I know.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've seen some good ones. I've had some really good, interesting reads over the last few years. I had one not so long ago, actually, 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, really good one. Really good information that she would not have known. Yeah, I'll tell you after, but I can't tell you.
You see, when I go for, I know we're going off par a bit here, but when I go for a reading, I like they, you know, we're asked the question all the time, aren't we? Would you like spirit link or tarot or future, whatever? And I always ask for spirit link, because I don't want somebody telling me something that's not happened yet, because that has no validation whatsoever. You know, I can sit here and charge somebody 30 quid. I'll tell you what you're going to do in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
You know, but I want somebody to tell me what I did 12 months ago because somebody was watching me do it. You know, that to me is validation that there's, as I've always said, my whole thing for doing this is there's something else afterwards.
I was just going to ask, why did you go if you want to know what you did 12 months ago?
Well, because the whole my whole point of being in this interested in this field is this. There's something else that we go to. There's some sort of life after death. It's not just the end when we pass over. So if somebody can tell me that, yeah, I've got your nan here and she saw you doing this and this, you know, 12 months ago, then hang on a minute, where's that come from? How could she possibly know that?
Yeah.
But the only problem I have with that is, I believe that I've been to the afterlife a few times, and while I'm there, the last thing I want to do is come back here. You're kind of a bit disappointed when you come back. So what were these people who are coming back and giving messages, if what I have experienced is true, then I don't believe they'd want to come back.
Because I think the difference is, Nick, is when you come back, you know, you're coming back to carry on your life.
Okay, maybe.
They're just coming back to hand a message over, and then they're going back to that fantastic place where they are. They're just handing a message. You were disappointed because you open your eyes and you're back here for however. do you know what I mean? 3, 2, 1, we're back in the room. You know, so I think that's the difference there. But when you know, and it's going to happen to all of us, when we do pass over for good, we're passing over. Surely if we had the opportunity, we'd be quite happy just to pop back for 5 minutes and give a message to a loved one, a family member, somebody that's struggling with our passing, and we just want to give them a bit of comfort. Surely we'd be happy to do that.
I don't know. I'm going to say no.
Really?
Because I don't. It's just so weird. I can't explain it, but I don't know. What do you think? Because you know exactly what I'm on about. Do you ever?
Yeah, but to pass the message on, you don't have to come back, do you? You just communicate.
You just
no, but then are they communicating with the spirit of the deceased relative, or whoever you're talking to, or are you talking to? And we've touched on this before, like the Akashic records, or you're just tuning into something that is the internet. It's all knowing. It's
a memory.
God, okay, let's just say God for a minute. You're connecting to an all-knowing, all-seeing, everything. Just like Wikipedia. Do you understand what I mean? You're not actually connecting to that individual spirit. You're connecting to
a memory.
A memory.
I wouldn't even say a memory. Maybe the whole. I don't know. God, I don't know.
I'd find that. So okay. So, and these mediums can describe your great Uncle Bert because they can access your memory of great Uncle Bert. Is that what you're saying?
No, because a medium, when a medium's giving mediumship, mental mediumship, they're not connecting, they're not actually seeing your uncle. If they're saying they've got your uncle, they're not actually seeing your uncle. They might be seeing their uncle that looked like your uncle and describing them. That's how mental mediumship works. You're not necessarily... that's why I don't think you can... These young people who are saying the mediums, I don't think they've had enough life experience to give these messages out. Because you can only... If someone comes through and shows you a mobile phone, you know it's a mobile phone because they're here now. But if from somebody who doesn't know what a mobile phone looks like and is shown a mobile phone, what are you going to describe that as? So you've got to have that mobile phone in your memory. Does that make sense?
What he's saying about the Uncle Beard, I saw your face then. He could pick up his mother, his father, his sister, but whatever he picks up will be your sister, your mother, your father. Are you with me?
I
So
understand that. Yeah.
He'll vision his own to know who's coming through.
I understand that when mediums work, they get shown different things that may mean other things.
Yeah.
So if, let's say I was doing somebody reading and my husband popped into my head, it wouldn't be about my husband. It would either be your husband or somebody with the same name as my husband. I understand that.
Or looks like him.
But the looks wise, so if that's the case, then if you're saying, so if a medium said, I've got your granddad here, and described my granddad, how he looked in life, it's not because she's actually seen a picture in her head of my granddad, it's because she's looking at maybe her granddad that looked like my granddad.
Yeah.
So if that's the case,
They're related.
no, I'm just thinking, if that's the case, then how much of a coincidence has it got to be that I go to a medium whose granddad looked like my granddad?
Because if their granddad didn't look like your granddad, they'd have chose something else, and that's why I think it takes a long time to get experience when you're doing these, because I've done it myself, and I know you do it, and I don't know how you it, but how I was taught, when you get like my granddad Fred or whatever, you've got to work out then whether they want to have a link, a granddad link, a Fred link, or a description link. There's like 3 different things there straight away, and that's where experience comes in, because you've only got described the wrong one. You've got to say, I've got Fred. My granddad wasn't named Fred. So you've got to kind of decide which one of them things that you've got to describe. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to show you a photograph of their granddad, because it's just not in your memory.
So you don't think that there's any mediums out there that can actually turn around and say to you, I can see your granddad, he's standing behind you, your granddad looks like this, I can see him, he's there. You don't think that that's...
Yeah, I think that could happen. But I think it's got work in you, because it's called mental mediumship for a reason. You've got to have them images in your mind somewhere to conjure them up, because they're not appearing, or else everyone in the room would see them. Do you understand what I mean? Like the head you saw, there must have been something.
Yeah, but how random was that though, Nick? I mean, where on earth did that come from?
No, I agree, and going back to, like, I'm going to just call it the near-death experience that I've had. I don't even know where I was going. What did you say?
About where did it come from? I mean... this is... you've got me back on. So when I've had my near-death experience, I'm going to call it, I get memories from that I don't ever think about. They pop into my head where I've like had a past life review, and I've seen things that I totally thought I'd forgot about, and just like little minuscule things, and they're all in there somewhere. So there's that much in your mind, from my point of view, from my experience, should I say, that the information is in there. Because I think I've got a terrible memory. So when I had this experience, for me to remember all them small details, because it was virtually like a lifetime's worth of details, I could remember all of them, from like toys I had, teddies I had,
from a child, and I couldn't just pull them out my memory because I think I forgot about them.
But how does that translate into what I saw? So do you mean that I've maybe seen something like that previously?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. Somewhere, because I'll just face it.
And then it just popped back out?
Yeah, how many faces we've seen through our lifetime. We've even just walking down through town, or one of those faces might have stuck in your mind.
But why see that in that kind of situation? I mean, what's... I mean, I'm asking you, like, you know,
Yeah.
for sure, but
No,
you
I don't
know, I'm
know.
just
I
I'm
don't
just
know if
interested in what your
Yeah.
thoughts are.
I just think it was maybe a frequency that triggered a memory of yours. Just like I used to see the little lights that was in my eyes. So that was some frequency messing with my eyes, because nobody else in the room could see the lights. When I was doing a reading, that's how I used to read off these lights. Nobody else in the room could see them, so they weren't in the room. They were in my eyes or in my brain.
So we're talking about this as if like everybody knows what we're on about, but
Yeah.
but some time back I had an experience where I saw what I can only describe as a head, no body. I can't even remember seeing a neck, to be honest. It was just a full face with hair. It was a head. It was almost... It was solid. It wasn't transparent, but it was black and white. Like, it had no colour to it. Just randomly in a place where there should not have been any head. I wasn't even investigating at the time, so that wasn't happening. And then after telling Nick what I'd seen, he did go in the same area that I saw the head, and immediately I had an effect on you,
Yeah,
Nick. You
I
felt
believe
sick,
you.
you had a headache, you it did affect you, didn't it?
Yeah.
In exactly
I
the
didn't
same
see
area.
anything, but I believe that you did see something,
Yeah.
and I believe that I felt something. So it was an energy affecting us in different ways.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the same energy, but in different ways.
Yeah.
So maybe I couldn't have seen that face because I hadn't got that image in my mind to show me that was the face. Do you understand what I mean? Or does that sound a load of rubbish?
No, it does. It certainly doesn't sound rubbish, but it's just I can understand you saying that it may have just been something that I've seen previously, and I get that. But what I don't get is how then that would have affected you the way it affected. If it was just a memory of mine that just popped in randomly and it startled me, why would one of my memories then affect you in the way that it did? It
wasn't so much your memory, it was the frequency that was triggered your memory, like a key. So that key...
You mean like a certain vibration?
Vibration
Okay.
Triggered that. It was visual to you, but it was more like a feeling to me, not visual at all.
Okay.
So it could be that one vibration affecting you differently than it affected me. That's all.
Yeah, because I think we're all about vibrations, aren't we?
Yeah,
Anyway.
definitely. Yeah,
So
definitely.
very interesting, Nick. Very interesting. Yeah. You see, I said right at the beginning of this that I think maybe some of us may change our opinions on some things as we're talking to each other, and I think that's you have just changed my opinion on something there.
Good.
Yeah.
I think about these things all the time, so
It
it drives
just-
me absolutely batty.
It just I think even though we know each other and we talk to each other all the time, doing this, sometimes one of us will say something and we'll go, oh yeah. You know, even now we still... It's very intriguing what other people think and their opinions.
Yeah, because going back to the mental mediumship is when I used to sit in circles in the church and development and stuff, we used to do, I don't know if you've done this, it's called symbology, and it's basically building up your dictionary. If you think of it like a child's book, you know, when you like a really baby book where you've got a red bus, a blue car, an apple, that's what you have to do, is build up all that. And it sounds really primitive. I don't know if that's the word, but it's very simplified. So you've got to work out is, if you get an image of a red bus while you're doing mental mediumship, you've got to understand what that red bus is.
Yeah.
Did they work on the buses? And kind of when you put the meaning to that object, it will stay the same all the time. It was a good example, is I used to see half an apple with the pips. It was an apple cut in half, and you could see the pips. If I ever saw that, I knew the person I was speaking to was pregnant, or there was a pregnancy around that person, because it was like it was the pips that were giving like the new
The
life.
seed, yeah.
And every time that spirit wanted me to tell someone that there was a pregnancy or that kind of thing, that's what they showed me, is the half an apple. So you got to build up, and it's a long time, and you got to put your time in and effort to learn all them.
Yeah.
Because how many
Yeah, 'cause-
objects is there? Like
Yeah,
a
exactly.
biscuit.
I know that things like, seeing a balloon could signify a birthday.
Yeah.
Seeing flowers could signify an anniversary.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, I get that.
And if you see flowers, you could signify a few different things. So that's why you've got to put the time in. Because how many times are you going to get that bunch of flowers? Because that bunch of flowers, if it comes out the first time, it could mean an anniversary, or it could be somebody's passing, and you don't really want to get them two
Or it
things
could
mixed
just,
up, do
or
you?
it could just be somebody's favourite flower
Yeah.
that they're showing you.
So that's what you've got. That's what you've got to work out. The system that you work, it's a long-winded thing. People just are instant mediums these days. There's a medium on every single street.
So do you think? I mean, we started this on haunted
I know.
objects. I know,
Sorry.
and we've got this is what happens, though, isn't it? We go off on one.
Yeah.
So do you think that no medium is born with that gift? It's something that has to be learned and worked at.
I think we're all born with the ability to do that. It's like, I think we're all born with it, but it depends whether you continue
carry on with it.
and you've got to have some life. It's when you get young kids saying they've seen things, I believe that they've seen things, but to start giving messages, it's just that's a different thing altogether. From someone seeing stuff, so I'm not poo-pooing anybody who sees stuff. It's just different from
From
giving someone a reading, isn't it? So yeah, I know we've gone off.
I know.
Subject
This is what we do, isn't it? We go off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Sorry, that
So-
was like the Marie and Nick show then,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
that's
So
okay.
lots of
Yeah,
questions.
alright,
Sorry.
alright.
No, I don't mind.
Good.
So I guess that's it then.
Yeah.
Mm.
That is it.
That's it. We go rabbiting off again and
Yeah.
end not how we started.
No, so yeah, so we'll leave it at that. And
We're back next
well,
week.
next week, yeah. What we're doing next week? Synchronicity.
Yeah. Well, we can start on synchronicity. Who knows where we'll end up?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Nice one. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.